Coming up, DC Fandom, the virtual global experience left us with our jaws dropped and our minds theorizing the possibilities. We're talking all of that and more on this episode of Geekly Kingdom. Hey guys, welcome to Geekly Kingdom, the show all about like theorizing and talking all things geek that come out each and every week. I just want to take a moment and just you know, like we plan the show. We try to make this show kind of like an escape for us geeks. We talk about movies, we talk about, you know, the theme parks and all this, but at the same time that we do talk about those things happen in the real world that affect, you know, greater things besides, you know, the things that we talk about here. But last night, as many of you guys are shocked that Chadwick Boseman has passed away. You know, we as geeks know him for, you know, the King, Black Panther, and you know, yeah, just may he rest in peace. He has touched so many people's lives. I've said countless times, not only on this show, but on, you know, just on this platform, I'm not African American, I'm Latin, but I am dark-skinned Latin, and being able to see someone that represents me and the way that I look on screen matters. And he'll be missed. He'll definitely be missed. So I just wanted to say that, get that out of the way. We have a huge show for you guys today. Repping my Batman hat. We got DC Fandome happened last week, and a bunch of stuff happened there that we're going to be able to talk about. But I wanted you guys to get some news. So we're going to be doing a new segment called In Case You Missed It. We had to reach out, you know, to our favorite girls at Chatter Me Disney, Maria and Dina. So they'll be coming on. They're going to be giving you guys all the news. So let's get to it. Well, hello there, darlings. How are ya?
Hi, how are you doing today?
Oh, Dina, I'm so glad you called me.
So great to be here. Everyone, hello, welcome. I'm Dina DeMarco, and I am the new addition to bringing you the news. So
yes.
In case you missed it.
In case you missed it.
In case you missed it, yeah.
So what do we got here, Dina?
I don't know, what are we looking at? Is this the Owl House?
This is the Owl House on Disney Channel.
So apparently, the Owl House is to feature Disney's first bisexual character.
Well, there we go.
Yes. This obviously comes after Officer Spectre from Onward.
From Onward, yes.
And also the Pixar short Out.
Yeah.
Apparently, Dana Terrace, the creator of the series, fought really hard to have an LGBTQ+ representation on the show, despite some pushback from Disney representatives. Okay, it's 2020.
It's 2020,
it's
but
ridiculous.
You know what? We're getting it, and that's all that matters.
And maybe one day, you know, we're halfway there. We got some bisexuals halfway there. One day, we're gonna get full on.
There we go.
Yep.
What's next here?
Up. Are we talking Pixar? We're talking
we are.
Pixar!
I love it.
I know Maria loves some Pixar.
Love it.
Yes.
This Guinevere popcorn bucket. Guinevere. The popcorn bucket drove into Disney's Hollywood Studios here in Orlando, Florida. And it's great. It's awesome. It lights up. Ooh. There's lights. There's little space for popcorn.
I love some special effects.
Right?
Very nice.
It's so good. Yes. What a treat. What a treat.
And you know, you can't actually refill it because, you know, COVID.
Oh, COVID, of course. Of course.
We almost forgot.
But if you get a little side of popcorn, you put it in there, bada bing, bada boom.
Yep.
You good. Let's see.
So you get to carry around a clunker and not even get to put anything in it. How fun. Great Disney.
How fun, I'm telling you.
No tea, no shade.
What do we got here? Oh, are you telling me?
Is it spooky season?
Oh my gosh, it's spooky season. I love it.
I mean, it's only the beginning. Is it the beginning? It's the end of August.
It's
Where
the
am
end,
I?
the beginning.
Time has stopped.
It's August.
Yeah, it's August.
Dina, what do they have?
I don't know. Well, we got some Spirit jerseys.
Oh, yes.
Some mini ears.
Oh, my gosh.
We got candy. And, of course, for the more fashion-forward people,
Oh?
we got some Crocs.
We got Crocs.
We got Crocs. Oh, look at
Oh, those are
Crocs.
cute. Those are cute. Mario Batali would wear those any day.
You know, if you don't care what you look like, you get to go out and wear some Crocs.
Some Crocs, I love it.
I care a little bit, so...
So you don't wear Crocs?
No.
Okay.
No,
I'll wear this.
You know.
What a Spirit
jersey. A
jersey.
little bit more glitter and maybe.
Maybe. How about this one? There's another one. That says
little more-
festive.
That does. And I love celebrations. I love the holidays. I love anything that brings the family together. Where there's food, it may be candy, but whatever. It's still food. You still eat it.
But whatever. And actually, talking about bringing the family together. Look at this. You guys can get a sneak peek. A sneak peek of Mulan. At Hollywood Studios.
Hollywood Studios.
Hollywood.
I mean, despite the fact that, Hollywood Studios has completely just acted like they're not a studio anymore.
You get some glimpses at Hollywood.
Still put in some effort every now and again.
A little bit.
At the one Walt Disney World Presents Theater.
That's true.
The only thing they care about now.
And the cool thing is, so Mulan is going to be available. Everyone knows. Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. But
For $30.
for $30.
Don't think we forgot.
I
mean, I'm paying for it because, it got me, the kids, the husband, we're all going to watch it. We're going to enjoy it.
It's going to be a good time. But if you don't have Disney Plus, you can watch it on Roku and on Google.
I don't know what the Roku is.
I don't know what the Google is. There we go. What do we got? Oh, talking about Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. Oh, things are coming.
Things are coming. Dina,
Yes.
tell us what things are coming.
All right, so Christopher Robin, which I'm pretty sure was on Netflix.
Oh my gosh, I cried.
It was weird.
I cried.
It was, I didn't cry. I thought it was, the thing is, I see stuffed animals, makes me think of my pup.
Oh, okay.
My little dog, and I see it, and I'm just like, especially Pooh. I like those little memes that he was on the higher ground, It was like a Star Wars reference.
I love that.
Anyway,
Love
Christopher Robin.
Christopher Robin.
Secret Society of Second-Born Royals.
Oh, is that me? Am I in this movie?
It's not about Prince Harry.
Oh.
Why do I care?
And it's not about me. Okay, next one.
The finale of Muppets Now.
Muppets Now, yes. I've been looking at Muppets. I've been watching it all my life. Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Stuff.
But Muppets Now, it is going to end. Hopefully, they'll get renewed for a second season because I'm dying.
One can only hope.
One can only hope.
And of course, Mulan.
Oh, yes, of course, Mulan.
Mulan. Because, everything is Mulan.
Everything right now.
Yes. We got nothing else to look forward to.
What do we got here?
Next news. Some bad news.
Some bad news.
Some bad news for some equity performers.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, the citizens.
Oh, yes. Bo Wrangler.
Oh, I love Bo.
Oh, look at him. Look at that face.
Look at that. Love Bo.
And Evie Starlight. So, bad news, despite the fact that Equity has made an agreement with Disney.
Yes.
They're still furloughed for the foreseeable future.
Oh, no.
Disney Entertainment will remain dark. That means no citizens.
No citizens.
No Voyage of the Little Mermaid.
No Voyage of the Little Mermaid.
No Finding Nemo the musical.
Oh, I was surprised. I thought you were going to say something else at Hollywood Studios.
No, just no. I mean, not that it matters. I never watched Finding Nemo.
Oh, next time we're going.
No, it's too long.
We're going.
Too long.
In the great, big, beautiful blue world. We're going.
Places to be. 45 minutes. I could be online for something. I got dinner reservations. You got to leave at least a half hour before to get there. What if they see you early? What if there's a wait? You never know. You never know. There.
But it's Nemo.
45 minutes, too much of the day.
My favorite festival.
Food and wine.
Oh, no, not food and wine. The taste of food and wine.
The taste of food. Oh, excuse me. I love wine.
It's just the taste.
I love wine. So this is some new merchandise we got.
I love Figment.
If you ask me, though, doesn't this look, the Figment stuff, we've moved on a little bit, but doesn't it look like just some rejects from the Festival of the Arts?
It does, but that means that it just blends together with your stuff that you bought at the Festival of the Arts.
That's a smart way to think about it.
Ah,
Maria.
you see? I
Although-
should work for them.
I think it's just a cheap little, like, we don't, they probably made this stuff and went, nah, I don't know.
I don't know. I like it. I'm gonna get that Spirit jersey.
You're all about the Spirit jerseys.
Oh, I love
today.
Spirit jerseys. I love him.
You know, are we trading in the red sweater for a Spirit jersey?
No, never. It gets too cold in the studio.
I'm okay. And also, we got some pass holder merchandise
Pass holder.
that says Olive to Cook.
Oh, I love to cook. I love that. I
That's
love
funny.
that.
All of that, too.
Oh my gosh.
It's great. It's great. And I love some extra virgin olive oil.
Look at that. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
And we got one more piece of merch, don't we? Not merch, news.
News.
That
News.
sweet girl from Star Wars.
From Star Wars, Kelly Marie Tran is going to be voicing the lead character in Raya and the Last Dragon.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know either. But you know what? She's voicing it, and it's a Last Dragon.
You know, I'm glad that she's getting work. You know, everyone was so mean to her for
I
no reason.
know,
For no reason.
She's a sweetheart.
I mean,
love
I know
her.
she's in a bunch of bad movies, but a bunch of other people were in those movies
But
too.
is it her fault?
It's not her fault.
It's not? But she's voicing it. This is gonna be perfect. I love it. And well, is that all the news?
I think that's everything you missed, guys.
Oh my gosh, well thank you for listening to us in our segment.
Now remember, I am Dina DeMarco, and I will see you guys soon.
Yes, and I'm Maria. Thank you so much for watching. In case you missed it.
In case you missed it.
Ha! Back to you guys in the studio. Maria, Dina, thank you so much. I'm telling you, I knew for a fact I was like, I have to reach out to them if we're gonna be doing the segment.
They're great.
We're doing the segment. We have to reach out to them. They're the know-hows. You know, like they know what's happening in Disney and in news and everything. It's just great.
Whenever I need to know something, I know I hit them up.
You hit them up, yeah. ChatterMeDisney.com.
Yep.
I'm telling you.
They know everything.
Guys, we have a humongous panel today, and I'm so excited. This is going to be so good. We got some things to talk about. So we had to essentially bring in our own Justice League. Not everyone is a Justice League. Some people like anti-heroes, you know, kind of thing. So today we have the one and only Catwoman, of course. We have Catwoman, Jilly. We got Green Lantern himself, Ron. Ron, I think you're muted. You might need to use your ring.
Hey, everybody.
There we go. We got Batman, Michael.
Ooh.
Oh.
It's in the name.
And we got the one and only Shazam. We got Rob.
What's happening?
Oh man, guys, thank you so much again for coming on. We got a lot of things. I was like, we need some other people. We need some other people to come on here and talk about all this news that we got. Cause DC Fandom was big. Did you guys watch by any chance?
I got to follow a lot of news online.
Okay, but you didn't watch like the physical.
Yeah, I had
Or the
other things
virtual, I
going on
guess.
during the day.
Gotcha.
One of the things that's actually been a benefit of all these things going virtual is that normally when you're at a convention, you gotta wait in line. You gotta set your sights on a specific panel that you want to see and wait in that line. But now with everything virtual, you can see everything whenever, so you can just catch up on anything that you wanted to see that may have been airing at the same time. With DC, at least everything was at one schedule, so it wasn't as condensed as things like San Diego Comic-Con at home and other conventions that have been going on. I know New York Comic-Con is doing that. So having everything virtual just means that everything can get out there and you can digest on your own time. So
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. One of the news stories that came out wasn't as big, but it wasn't its own panel. It was Static Shock. So apparently DC is working on a Static Shock movie, live action with the original creators of Static Shock. They're also working on new comics, and basically just bringing him back to the limelight, like he was in like the 90s and early 2000s. What do you guys think? Are you guys Static Shock fans? Do you think he'd be a good fit for, like, let's say they do add him into the whole DCU? I don't know what they're...
as I was writing the thing today, I'm like, is
DCEU.
it DC? What does the E stand for?
Extended.
Extended?
Yeah.
I said expanded.
Expanded universe. But what do you guys think? Is he a good fit if they even put him in there? Because now, with something that we'll talk about a little bit later, it looks like they're just doing whatever they want to do, and then not pretty much like connecting everything, which I think is an interesting thing because it's separate from what Marvel's doing.
He's a good character. He's never been one of my favorites. I watched a little bit of the cartoon, but I think shows how good of a character he is. He's the only character to survive from the series of they were really African-American themed comics that came out as like a sideline of DC, I think Milestone, and he was quickly moved over to the main line, and almost everybody else from that's forgotten. He's always been he's kind of a Spider-Man-y, younger character that really relates well, and he does really good with stuff like that. And I think that all the characters in DC don't really hit that demographic. Shazam a little bit, but it's a little different there. So I think he definitely fills in a different role.
Yeah, I agree.
So Eric, something you just talked about. I mean, can I be real a second?
Yeah.
I mean, for just a millisecond.
Do it.
So basically, I agree with you about the whole they kind of do whatever they want and they don't connect, except I don't know if you guys watch the animated movies in the DC Extended Universe. They did such a good job tying those together. The Batman movies, the Justice League movies, they're all very well tied together. And the fact that they actually use the voices from the CW shows, like that's some tie-in. I think where they drop the ball is tying it into the actual theater movies. Like having two Flashes. Obviously, they kind of played around with that in the Crisis crossover. But I mean, things like that. That's the kind of stuff Marvel's been really super careful about avoiding. But I do think they do a great job when it comes to the animated full-length movies that DC does. And tying them together, like John Constantine from the TV show Constantine, who was then on DC Legends of Tomorrow with the same actor, is also the voice, in the Justice League Dark. And so again, that stuff that's on point. Why they can't do that with the movies in the theater as well, no idea.
Yeah, no, I feel you. It's
Which
such
is kind
a
of ironic. Because they do the opposite in the comics. For years, DC tried to delete their multiverse and put everything into one spot, while Marvel numbered all their universes and spun them off.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird that they work one way in one and one way in the other.
Which is funny, because that's exactly what happened with New 52. Flash essentially just took everyone from different universes, just made it into one, and then that's when they launched the New 52, which is kind of interesting.
See, but the thing is, they've done that so many times in the comics. Like, I mean, the Crisis on Infinite Earths was the original, where they got together and they were like, Superman has a dog and a family. Why does that make sense? And then in some cases, Batman lives in a tower in the city, and the cave is underneath the tower. And in some cases, he lives. I mean, it's just like, so they're like, okay, we got this. There is a multiverse. There's multiple planets. There's multiple Earths. We're going to just combine it together. We're going to reset the thing. And then they have to reset it again with the New 52, and I feel like they reset it like several times. So Crisis should have fixed all that, and they should have said, hey, look, here's the new baseline, but then somewhere along the line it fell apart again. They were like, no, New 52, here's the new baseline. So, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. It kind of goes into our next story, I think, is Flashpoint. The Flash movie is supposed to kind of say these are the Elseworlds.
Yep.
You have the TV all the TV shows got moved to one universe after Crisis, if I'm correct.
Yep.
And then the movies are all in one, and then this is going to split off so they could do those, like, obviously the new Joker movie, the last Joker movie was at Elseworlds, but they're going to keep doing those as separate universes so they can tell those side stories without bugging down their main continuity.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like you said, it goes into our next story that the Flash is getting a new suit, and from the looks of that image, it's very influenced on his cameo on Crisis of Infinite Earth on the CW, when he finally meets the Flash from there, and essentially also getting the name Flash, because on the panel that I was watching for DC Fandom, they were saying that he's never been called the Flash in the movies yet. So essentially, I guess going forward, he takes that idea from that Barry Allen, and then that's where he's going for that. And yeah, and in that image, also the cool thing is that he's teaming up with Batman, but if we look very closely, that's not Robert
Pattinson?
That's not Robert Pattinson, correct?
That's no one.
But it's also not Ben Affleck's Batman. If you look very closely, that looks like at least Michael Keaton's Batman.
Which there have been talks for months now about him coming back to reprise the role.
Yeah, and for months it's been very much he's going to be some sort of mentor kind of figure, and it's interesting that the teaser, image that DC themselves show us of Flash's new suit is Batman like suited up and in a fighting stance, which is very, I think, cool. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of just the imagery of Keaton Batman coming back? I guess essentially to be Batman once more.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this.
Yeah.
About, like a little bit long in the tooth to be doing that and it just being odd. Especially, I don't mind him coming back. Mm-hmm. However, him coming back and donning the suit, that's a little weird. Like the way you said it, like him being a mentor and all that stuff, like it's more like a Bruce Wayne type thing, like older Bruce Wayne.
Correct.
Being like, when I was 30.
It's very much Batman Beyond, Bruce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's cool. Like, I say these things and I, criticize in my head, but I'm like, that's cool, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't have any very strong feelings about this.
Okay, yeah. Does anyone have strong feelings?
I think it ties into the... Go ahead.
No. All right, let me just throw this out there real quick, because when that movie came out, that was like they got together and they said, let's make this movie for Rob, because it was like, here's a Batman movie, and it has Michael Keaton in it, who I thought was a great actor at the time, and then, Prince is doing the music? That's fantastic. Yo. And, so it was, and who's putting it together? Tim Burton? Yes, please. Let's make that happen. So that was, to me, that was the big changeover in comic book movies for me, because the other, the Christopher Reeves Superman movie was kind of, it was all right and it was all we kind of had, but at the same time, it wasn't so dark and cool like that Michael Keaton Batman movie was. So I love that Batman. I think that's really cool. You mentioned earlier, though, the whole idea of him being the mentor for Terry in Batman Beyond. That is perfect. That is such brilliant. That's such a brilliant idea to bring him back. Yeah. And then, you also have Frank Miller's The Dark Knight story, where he could sort of be in that mold of still trying to be Batman, but I'm still, as Jilly said, long in the tooth, and it's time to retire. That could be this moment in Flashpoint that we're seeing. But I think it's awesome to bring him back in. There were rumors they were going to bring him back in for that Crisis crossover on the CW, but the reason that they didn't do it was that he was already in negotiations to come back to the theater movies, and so they didn't want to kind of spoil that by throwing it into the TV show. So I mean, I'm excited about them bringing him back in, and I think it'd be really cool to do. I do think, though, that if it's not them showing that he's too old, or him trying to still be the original Batman roaming around the streets being cool, that will look a little sad.
May I ask why
you
said
the movies were made for Rob, then I think more the television and Crisis of Infinite Earth was made more for me because Kevin Conroy is my Batman. I've met him a couple of times.
Yes.
Side note, it's really odd when Kevin Conroy in Batman voice asks you where the bathroom is. That's happened to me. So, having Kevin Conroy come back on the Crisis of Infinite Earths, it just made the character... It had that bit of a Dark Knight Rises, where at that point he had taken care of Superman, essentially, and had gone a bit dark. So, we just saw Keaton as Vulture pulling those vibes. So I wouldn't be surprised if they saw him in Vulture and, of course, Birdman and said, let's take Tim Burton, go one step further with this.
Yeah.
As for the suit for the Flash, I am glad that actually looks like the Flash again and not... because when you're trying to run like that speeds, with the big bulky suit that Ezra Miller was in? How do you run in that?
Yeah, I was never a fan of that one.
I mean, Rob, you are a fan of the 80s and such, so you must have been a big fan of John Wesley Shipp's Flash. And I mean,
yeah, that was like, I mean, to me, that was like, hey, we did this in the movies. How do we do this on TV? Because it was like the big, kind of muscle suit. It was the Danny Elfman music. It was like, hey, let's like take this to the small screen. So the John Wesley Shipp, Flash, I thought it was a little bit cheesy. I kind of like the sleeker look that they have on the Flash TV show. I think the newer one that he has looks a little off. The one that they changed him over to last season. But I think that this suit looks a lot like the animated version that they had in Flashpoint Paradox. See, that's the thing that I see when I look at this. But I agree with you that the Ezra Miller one just feels wrong. It just feels off. And I think there's probably a story behind why it looks that way. And I'm hoping that, we'll talk about this later, that the Snyder Cut explains why the suit looks that way. Like maybe it's something, from a science standpoint that they're trying to make it more realistic, that it protects him better or doesn't burn up or something like that. But it does look a little bit more like, like a knight armor than it does look like a cool Flash suit.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken,
that was kind of the New
that
52
suit?
style suit too, wasn't it?
Yes?
The New 52 looked like it had like more plasticky pieces and not
Which,
you're right.
Taking the whole idea of hiding the Flash in the ring, the Flash costume in the ring out of it when you have bulky pieces like that.
Yeah. That, which is why he's wearing the new suit in the series. So I get that. But I do think there's something a little off. I don't know if it's the color of that new suit that he's wearing. But Michael, you said you're a huge fan of the CW shows too. So like, I mean, that suit coming out of the ring, that's canon to the comic book. But I mean, there's something off about that suit, right?
About the new suit? Are you thinking like the yellow lines around it? How it just kind of feels a little like Iron Man's nanites, kind of.
It looks a little less red to me too. It looks a little bit like a tone of orange. Not this one, the CW one. I'm totally taking this off track by talking about the Flash costume in other places. So Eric, I apologize, but I think that the suit that they have on the CW right now, the newer one that he has, that he had in Crisis, looks just a little bit off from. I don't know. There's something weird about it. I like the one that he had when the show launched. That Cisco made for him, and I thought that was cool. So I would have liked to have seen that in the movie, but I think they probably had to make a differentiation because, like we talked about earlier, there's a Flash in the movie and there's a Flash on TV. I think they have to make them look, right in their individual universes.
Yeah,
I'm so surprised they both were married.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's I would say it's just. All these newer costumes both are New 52 and Rebirth style with the armor and then the Speed Force glow going through them are more newer versions of the comics costumes. So I think they're just trying to keep it to that. So
that makes sense. Yeah. Talking about costumes and like new stuff. So Shazam. we knew that Shazam 2 was coming out.
Rob?
We knew that it was coming. Rob was coming. We knew it. Shazam! We knew that. We just didn't know, essentially, if Black Adam was going to be in it, because they have this Black Adam movie coming out as well, which is The Rock. But it's cool. We finally have.
Doesn't he?
He does. He's just in everything. Oh my gosh, he's just in everything. We finally have a title for the movie that was shown during DC Fandoms. I'm gonna show that image, and I love it. Now, the Shazam: Fury of the Gods. My thing, and I'm not sure if they were trolling us or what is happening, but the one under Zachary Levi.
Sinbad?
Yeah.
Sinbad.
I have no idea what's happening. Because it seemed like, if you look at the panel, it seems like it was a joke.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't get the joke. Like,
Oh, it's a whole Mandela effect thing where people think he was Kazam, but the movie was called Shazam. It's one of those things. People think he made this wizard movie called Shazam back in the 90s, but it was really the Shaq movie, and people have been confused for years. So they're playing on that joke, and I think they're going to bring him in it just because of the tone of these movies. Having that kind of meta joke works so well.
that would be, oh my gosh. Like, yes.
Also, just a side note, like, despite the whole Sinbad thing, I've always loved, like, the poster art for anything Shazam.
Uh-huh.
It's also random. Like,
it
every
is.
time, like, the one, I love this one, though. It's, like, it looks hella gay, and I'm allowed to say that.
Well, the funny thing is, so, in the panel, essentially, it's the little girl that's drawn it up, and that, like, created this poster. So it's actually pretty cool. I really love this.
I love the rainbow.
Did you guys like the first Shazam?
The first Shazam actually
a lot of fun.
Silent nods.
did a good job
Sure.
with the character.
So I have an opinion about it. So
We don't allow those here.
I love that character. Obviously, I mean, you know, when Eric said, like, you know, which character, I was like, oh, Shazam, for sure. I mean, and maybe it's because, like, the idea of, like, it's a little kid who gets to be a grown-up and the whole, you know, like, and be a superhero, and he's very innocent. And, you know, in the comics they call him the Boy Scout and all that. I mean, you know, they call Superman that sometimes too. But the whole thing about it being, you know, like, I don't know, like, it was always a cool thing to me, and they kind of made it super campy. They made it, you know, like, it was almost like Big, but with Shazam. You know, this whole thing about, oh, I can go in and I can buy stuff because I'm an adult. So, I mean, I wish that it hadn't been quite so tongue-in-cheek. I wish it had been, like, a little bit cooler.
Okay.
And honestly, I'm not a huge – I mean, I love Zachary Levi, you know, like Flynn Rider. That's great.
Yeah.
But – you know, and Chuck, that was great. I wouldn't have wanted him to be Shazam. Like, usually I don't get, like, real picky about that. I mean, you know, I know Jilly was talking about, like, I'm going to watch it anyway, even if you, like, put the wrong person in it. But I would have loved to seen somebody different, somebody I hadn't seen before in this role, and them grow it from there. Zachary Levi just seemed a little bit not the right choice for me in this movie. But that said, as a movie, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I've watched it a couple times since then, but it wasn't quite what I wanted out of a Shazam movie. So.
Okay, yeah. I honestly actually feel the total opposite that you feel.
Okay.
So I'm repping this Batman hat because I love Batman and I love his portrayal of Batman. Ben Affleck's Batman, I like his portrayal. Didn't like Batman v Superman. Didn't like Man of Steel. I'm just not... I didn't like any of these movies that are in this new continuity. And then I watched Shazam. And Shazam was that movie that I was like, oh, okay, I actually like this.
Right.
Which is so odd.
I mean, the DC Extended Universe movies, they're like the Zack Snyder movies. Like, I I agree with you. Like, Man of Steel to me wasn't a Superman movie. It could have been anything else. Like, you take the S off, it could have just been any other movie, and I'd have been better, like more okay with it than I was with it as Man of Steel. Batman versus Superman, I didn't even like. I will see any superhero movie. I didn't see that in the theater because everybody was talking about how bad it was, and then the whole thing about, oh, your mom's name is Martha, my mom's name is Martha. I'm not going to fight you anymore. Let's be friends. What? Like, that was the weirdest thing. So, like, I agree with you. Like, those weren't great movies. I mean, they weren't like horrible trash movies like the first Hulk movie.
Oh, gosh.
But they were not great movies, and so that one movie, like with Man of Steel, I feel like could have been just something else, and I would have liked it better. It just didn't feel like a Superman movie. It was choppy, the whole deal. So I don't disagree with you on that, and the fact that this one stands alone, like the Joker movie did. Yeah. It's kind of like, that was kind of cool. But again, I just was hoping for something bigger. And then for the sequel not to have like Black Adam in it, like, that's weird to me. Like, that's his nemesis. That's his guy. Like, the fact that we're going to have 2 movies of Shazam and not have met Black Adam yet, but we're going to have a separate Black Adam movie, that's weird to me. That's almost like that whole Venom Tom Hardy movie being separate from the whole, Tom Holland thing too. It's just like, what are we doing? I thought we were working on continuity here, folks. Like, why can't we tie these guys together? So that, again, because it's Shazam, I'm going to have like these like probably non-popular opinions about it, but I just feel like he deserved a better movie. I mean, I liked the movie. I just feel like Shazam deserved a better movie.
Yeah, no, hey. Ron?
I kind of agree. I think it was an overcorrection from those Snyder movies into the camp effect, but to differentiate, Shazam from Superman, you have to kind of play into that camp a little bit anyway, and that's what they've done in the comics for years. He didn't really become more serious until recently. He was always kind of the joke, even though he's as powerful as anybody or almost as powerful as anybody in the DC universe. But they steered into it a little too far with the campiness around it. But I think it worked, and I really enjoyed it, much more than I think, as you said, Man of Steel was a horrible Superman movie. They just don't understand who Superman is. Like my biggest problem with that was not Clark's darkness. Was like their Jonathan Kent not teaching Clark to be the hero bothered me more than anything else in that movie, because that's who Clark is, and that's where it comes from. And then Batman vs. Superman, the movie was horrible till Doomsday showed up, and it wasn't a great version of Doomsday, but the one thing Snyder's good at is these big cinematic fights. Yeah. And the second, like, Wonder Woman shows up, it's a totally different movie that goes from, like, this is horrible to, I want to watch this part over and over and over again.
Why do they always get Batman v Superman confused with Superman Returns? I have no idea.
I don't know.
And there was like 10 years of doing them. I don't know why. Every time someone brings it up, my mind goes to Superman Returns, and I'm like, no, that's not right. Yeah. Sorry. Side note.
Too bad.
And problematic, but still, Kevin Spacey was a good Lex Luthor, in my opinion.
No,
but also he can go off, I
gotta say, Superman Returns, like, again, an unpopular opinion, but I like that movie. Like, I thought they did a great job tying it into the original Christopher Reeve movies. It was like Brendan Routh doing his impression of Christopher Reeve doing Clark and Superman. I mean, that's really what it was, and it was almost like a legacy movie. And I agree with you, Jelly. I think Kevin Spacey was great as Lex Luthor. Yeah. Like, that was exactly the touch that movie needed. Somebody was like, oh, but Superman never threw a punch in that movie. I'm like, it was still a cool Superman movie to me, but it got panned pretty hard. So I like that movie. It was a real redemption from Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. Just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Michael, what do you think? Is Michael frozen?
Michael, unfortunately, has had his internet cut out. He'll hopefully be back relatively soon.
He's moving.
But we're not in a great spot there.
Nah, no problem. So we'll go.
No reception down in the Batcave.
The cool thing about DC Fandom is that not only did we get, movie news, TV show, also, we got some cool games coming out with DC characters. Yeah. We're going to talk first about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Kill them all!
Oh my gosh. Like, one thing, I think it's a
That's an
cool...
awesome logo.
Yes.
Oh my god. Like, what great work they did there.
I was like, I really love that. I love just the look of it and the idea of, like, the Suicide Squad going against the Justice League.
Yes.
I'm like, that's pretty cool. I love this.
And also, I love a good, like, anti-sanctimonious movie. Or,
Okay.
not movie, but game.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
Yeah.
like, get rid of those pretentious good guys.
It's so good.
Not that I don't like them, but, like, I just, like, sometimes, you know, you're like, you're too good.
I know, I feel you. And the only person in the Justice League that we see in this trailer is Superman.
Okay.
That's the only one that we see.
And I may be completely wrong, but I feel like I read this somewhere. Is the voice of Harley Quinn Margot Robbie?
For this game?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I heard someone somewhere say that she was the voice of some cartoon Harley.
Yeah, it's Tara Strong is the
Oh, it
voice
is Tara
of.
Strong? I
There
don't
we
know
go.
where. I guess I read something on Facebook, and it was like, oh, Harley as a...
Yeah, I was like, it doesn't sound like Margot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tara Strong did like Powerpuff Girls, and she
No,
did like My Little
I know who
Pony
Tara
and all
Strong
that
is.
stuff.
I just read somewhere.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Damn it! Argus 3 is taking heavy fire. Get to Park Ridge ASAP.
Don't worry, boss.
It's so good.
She
like,
looks like Margot, though.
she does.
They animated her to look like her.
They definitely went that route.
But yeah, Tara Strong will always be
Yeah.
Harley, though.
Yeah. Yeah. The funny thing is that, like you said, they animated her to look more like Margot, but then Deathstroke here doesn't look like Will Smith.
Yeah.
They went a different route, and then Boomerang also.
Doesn't look, yeah.
But I guess it's because of the fact that, like, I don't know. I'm guessing she is gonna be Harley for years to come, kind of thing. And
I mean, she's a good Harley.
I think
So
she's a
you
good Harley.
said you said Deathstroke. You mean Deadshot? But
Yes,
But,
Deadshot.
but is that? I mean, we assume that is who that's supposed to be as Deadshot. Because yeah, you're right. The costume looks very, very different in that one.
Correct. And then I don't know what the heck Boomerang's doing with all that Flash-looking thing.
You know, it's weird though. You know, we were talking about continuity, and like, why wouldn't you have continuity with the game? I agree, the logo looks cool, but why not use James Gunn's new logo because it matches the movie? And if you're going to make it look like Margot Robbie, why couldn't you pay her a little extra to be the voice of this Harley if you're going to make it look like her?
Right.
It's just that's where it takes me out a little bit is like continuity, and like you said, it doesn't look like the movie version of Deadshot, and it feels like it could have all been connected. Maybe there's a reason it wasn't, but it feels like it could have all been connected.
Yeah.
Well, one, I think that's likeness rights, and they don't want to pay Will Smith his asking price, probably.
Then just put a
two,
mask on it.
Well, he couldn't do that for the movie, so.
This is supposed to be a sequel to the Arkham games. This is actually supposed to be in that universe, from my understanding.
Okay.
So
Well, it's
Tara
from the
Strong being
ma-
there, but this is actually supposed to take place after. I was reading something that said this takes place after Arkham Knight, when Batman and one of the plot lines of that game can be killed, and this is supposed to be taking place after that. And it looks like Brainiac takes over the rest of the Justice League from what you see in the background here.
Yeah.
Those were my favorite games, like modern day. I love those Arkham games. They were so good.
That's the only thing that really makes me want to play this game is that it looks like if they're doing an Arkham game with an open world atmosphere, this could be fun. Because otherwise, I thought when I first saw it, I thought it was going to be a squad shooter, which I hate.
Okay. Is that King? I think his name is King Shark.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
His name is King Shark. He looks so cool here, and like I don't know, it's one of those things that you would think they would all talk and be like, hey, so we're gonna use him for a movie. Oh, we're gonna use him for a TV show. I mean, for a video game, it's gonna be the first time we see this character in both, instances. The video game one looks way cooler than the movie one.
He looks like Victor Crumb when he was going into the lagoon in Goblet of Fire to rescue Hermione. That's exactly what he looks like.
He doesn't look like Shark Boy?
Nope, Victor Crumb.
Oh, man. Will you guys be getting this game?
I would like Ben, Pull up a picture of Victor Crumb. I'm kidding. You don't have to do that. I don't want to be like rude.
Hey, Michael's back.
Nope, I'm already on
will.
it.
I've had every game in the series. The Arkham stuff, I loved them. I played them all the way through. So definitely if the gameplay, I'm probably gonna want to see the gameplay before I pick it up. If it is that style of gameplay, like the other game we're gonna talk about is, I'm all over it.
Nice. I have not played any of the Batman games, the Arkham games or anything like that. I always say that I'm a very casual gamer. Like, I have Nintendo. That's pretty much what I have. I've recently, and honestly, because of things like this, I've recently been really wanting, like, when the PS5, I believe it is, when that one comes out, I really want to get that. Because I want to be able to play, like, Spider-Man. I want to be able to play, the Miles Morales game, if it's going to be a full game or if it's just going to be a DLC. I want to be able to play these types of games because they do look interesting. And I never really been that type of person, but recently it's been very interesting that I'm like, I want to pay money for another system.
I'm a story gamer. I like games with story. I don't like big online death matches. I absolutely hate things like Fortnite.
Okay.
But I really like games that have a story. One player and co-op, I don't mind. But so both of these games looking like they're going to be that are much more my style. And I will say both of these games look absolutely gorgeous from everything we've seen so far.
They really, really do.
Yeah. So it was glad that Rocksteady Montreal was actually able to come back and make a game after, I think it must have been 4 or 5 years since Arkham Knight. So I don't know if you got to show the gameplay, but there were a couple of things in there that I was definitely excited about.
We showed the trailer for Suicide Squad. We haven't done Gotham.
We haven't done Gotham Knights yet.
Okay, sorry, I had to catch up. Sorry.
No, you're good.
But
I know you were excited for Gotham, so we did that one. We did that one, and we haven't gone forward yet.
What's more nerdy?
Jilly.
Let me know.
Jilly, I have a
Playing
thing
video
for you.
games or going on YouTube? Well, no, I wanted Victor Crumb as the shark, not just Victor Crumb.
Oh, I see the resemblance.
Oh!
Right, when he's actually in the competition?
When he
Right.
has the shark head, not just like. That would have been so mean of me to be like, this actor has a face like a shark.
Shark Boy, I'm telling you, he looks like Shark Boy.
I'm gonna post it on the
Team Shark's a lot
Instagram
more
later.
articulate.
It's gonna be fine. I don't even remember what I was.
You were saying which one's geekier?
Oh yeah. Like actually playing a video game or going on YouTube and just watching cutscene montages of them, because that's what I did with Arkham Knight.
Okay, so I have not done that with Arkham Knight because I really do want to play all the Batman games.
Yeah.
But when Spider-Man came out, and I was like, I'm not getting a PlayStation. I might as well just watch someone play this game.
Yeah.
But after watching them play the game, I'm like, I need to play this myself.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to play this. So I don't know. Do you guys watch gameplays?
occasionally, there is there is one thing with Jilly when she was saying that she watches it. There's a good cut scene, a whole group of cut scenes along with playing that they've done for the Batman Arkham games, which is excellent, where even at some points they're adding in some of the movie music to the game, and it's actually adding. There was actually one point in one, it was the Arkham City movie version of the game, where the first conflict against Joker, they were actually playing the 60s Batman theme in the background. Yes. Yeah, I know. And it just made it so much like real feeling of like this entire universe as how this Batman fits into it. It's a wonderful production just in general.
That's too cool.
Because the storylines are done, but they were done not was it Tim or Dinny? I always get it confused. Which one's the writer? Which one's the animator? But yes. So they had him working on these the Arkham. I know it was Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, at least. I'm not sure if he worked on Knight in Origin. So, but they've always done a good job with those games. That you want to play them through. You want to try all the little things. You want to try to get the Riddler trophies. There's all the side missions. Just flying around Gotham is just a lot of fun.
Gosh, so you guys
just like in Spider-Man with the PS4, just going around New York City and be like, wait a second, I know where Madison Square Garden is. I'll go there.
Yeah. So you guys that have played the Gotham games, let's talk about Gotham Knights. We got a trailer for Gotham Knights, but then we also
That's the one I wanted. I just sent it to Ben. Isn't that's correct? Everyone now knows what I'm talking about. Thank you so much.
We got a trailer for Gotham Knights, but then we also got gameplay footage for Gotham Knights. So we're gonna put that up, and yeah, you guys that have played these other Gotham games, like, what do you see that's different? What do you guys see that's the same about these?
This is definitely a very similar cutscene that they've done before. This is definitely in that style right now.
I love this bike.
Yeah, this is, I think, is a good thing, because in Arkham Knight they added the Batmobile, which was very similar to the Batman Begins Dark Knight Tumbler.
Ooh, okay.
So it was pretty clunky. With the Batmobile, it's a lot more streamlined. There's not as many things that the car needs to do, because it's
Robin
not
joined the session.
Tank. It's just, it's like whatchamacallit? It's like a horse in Legend of Zelda. It just gets you there faster.
It's so cool, though.
Yeah, the car combat wasn't great in Arkham Knight.
Freeze has recently returned to Gotham with a mysterious agenda that involves manipulating the weather.
Like, it looks beautiful. My God.
So,
and this co-op thing that's about to happen is what I absolutely love. I like this concept that you can play every story with every character, but you could also, and they all do different things.
Oh, okay.
And this way you could, like, they all have different fighting styles. Batgirl seems to be more the Batman with tech. Red Hood Red Hood's going to be more gunplay. I'm guessing Dick is going to be much more just pure
take a look
fighting.
And just in this video, how they have the numbers above these people you're trying to take out. So that's a new feature of the game, where the enemies are going to be leveled, and there's also a hit bar, which was not in the original games. So now the thugs that you're going to beat up are going to be tougher and rise up as a challenge, instead of just getting new gadgets and new different types.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like in the old games, it's like you started with regular thugs, and then you'd get armor thugs that were just immune to certain attacks, which was just annoying. So as long, like, if you could still just beat them up and they're just harder, is probably a little more fun than having to do the same three move maneuver over and over again to beat these guys.
So I'm not sure if you saw it, when Batgirl was using the grapple, it changed from white to green. I've been thinking about that and wondering if that's a new mechanic that they've added when she uses the grapple.
This is Batman and Robin just in a video game. I love it.
You think it's going to limit the surfaces that you can target with that grapple?
The comparison.
Yeah, there's a targeting service.
Uncanny.
That's always how they've done it. And this is supposed to be Damian Wayne, but it looks much more like Tim's Red Robin.
It does look like Tim, yeah.
Kind of...
No, I think it's a bit more Tim, but there's a lot of customization that you can do these costumes, they've been saying.
Oh, okay.
Well, just when I saw that that he was the only one of the protégés not here, I kind of thought that seldom short because Tim is, the guy I grew up reading most, and he's still probably my favorite Robin.
Yeah.
So only take a second.
Actually, even sounds like Tim. Like Damien's supposed to be much younger and not as polite.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Now, another thing on the bottom left, these bars, which they're going to be, that's going to be the bar for their attacks, it looks like, because you can see Barbara
You're cutting off.
Michael, you're cutting in and out again.
using that.
Oh no.
Yeah, you know what? I think that
yeah.
this is very cool, but I really did love those Arkham games, and in Arkham City they actually had a playable with Catwoman, which was her own campaign. And so it was a different. They were different mechanics in that one because of you're fighting as Catwoman instead of as Batman. But yeah, just the realistic look of these games. It feels like mini movies that you actually get to play, and I mean, all the Arkham games are amazing. This looks just on par with those. And beyond, just because you have 4 different characters, and I'm a huge Robin fan, so I love the idea of them including, Nightwing and Red Hood and Robin all in the same thing. But I get that, Batwoman is awesome, but maybe they could have included Tim Drake, or maybe Tim Drake will be in there somewhere, Ron, and you maybe it's a pre-order that you get. If you buy it at GameStop, you get another playable with Tim Drake. But that would have been cool to see all of them together.
That's so true. And actually, the funny thing is, you said this is Batgirl, right? Or is this Batwoman?
Yes. No, this is Batgirl.
Okay, because that's the other thing that I was thinking of. I was like, I wonder if Batwoman would be something that you can get, in here as well.
I feel like her story just runs separate from the others, but yeah, I mean from Batman, because she was never really a protege, right? She was just like
a cousin that did the same thing.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. These are all just. These are like his children, basically, because he taught them and he raised them and he, gave them all the knowledge they needed to carry on his legacy, right? So that's kind of how they started out in the trailer, with him saying, "If you're watching this, I'm dead," and so these people can carry on without him. The other one that they don't mention is when Bane broke his back, Azrael. Was in there and was Batman for a while. Obviously, again, not one of his sidekicks, but maybe that could be a playable character too. I don't know.
It's Mr. Freeze.
I love me some villains, so I actually really like this suit.
They're going to keep a lot of things that they did well with these in the Arkham City. Now, take a look at it. See how they have darker numbers?
Gotham Knights is that as the
So it looks like some hits are going to be having more effect.
Yeah, there was one that just said 80.
So
it's going to be a very different proposition at level 5 or at level 50.
Yeah.
Hey Ben, can we get a picture of
attacks and defenses they bring to bear?
I'm sorry, can we get a picture of Victor Freeze and Victor Crumb side by side?
Not as honestly,
when he's been bewitched specifically.
This looks awesome. This looks awesome. I can't wait. Honestly, can't wait for that. Guys, we're gonna take a small break. Show you all the wonderful different shows that you guys can watch right here on YouTube. And when we come back, we'll be talking about the movie trailers that dropped. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Pressing Issues is the spin-off of the WDW News Today podcast segment as a long-form panel discussion in which some of the brightest minds of WDWNT analyze the biggest stories of the week and their impact on the Walt Disney Company, its parks, guests, and cast members. Join us every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, or afterward on the WDW News Today podcast feed.
Hi everyone, I'm Cosmic Chris Reed, inviting you to join my co-hosts and I every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern on WDW News Today as we chat Disney park memories, food, and Imagineer our own attractions, restaurants, hotels, and more. Share your stories with us in the YouTube chat. Plus, listen to WDWN tunes at the same time to hear some Disney park music paired with the show topics. Cosmic Read Live, every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on WDW News Today.
4 panelists, 30 minutes, 1 week in Disney Parks news. This is Parks Center. On Parks Center, the panel and I cover the top 7...
7?
Yeah, 7 Disney park stories of the past week. From attraction news to transportation scandals to new food and merchandise, we'll cover it all in 30 minutes or less. You can watch us stream live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. at WDWNtunes.com. Watch episodes on demand at youtube.com/WDWNT, or subscribe to the audio version of the show on your favorite podcast app.
WDW News Tonight is our weekly comedy show combining the news of the week, comedy segments, thoughtful discussions, insane characters, parody commercials, games, and more. Watch live on Thursdays at 9 p.m. and become a Wigs member to get access to a bonus post show. Watch WDW News Tonight episodes anytime and live on YouTube, or get the audio-only version on iTunes and other podcast services.
Hey guys, welcome back to Geekly Kingdom. We're talking about all things DC Fandome that happened last week. We got some cool people on today's panel. We got Jilly. We got Ron.
Hey everybody.
We got Rob.
I swear, I thought you brought me on to talk about Deep in the Plus, dude. I don't know what's happening here.
And we got Michael. I don't know.
Muted. Hey, my man.
I don't know what you said, but that looks cool.
Anybody want to watch a movie?
What is that?
The 30th
anniversary collection.
Animated ones, right?
Yeah, all of the essentially straight to video ones.
Like the J. Olivia stuff.
JL New Frontiers. Let's see, Doomsday, Public Enemies, Crisis on Two Earths, Green Lantern First Flight, Doomsday, All-Star Superman.
Such a cool book for it.
It is.
Seasons 1 through 11 Smallville.
The actual discs are, you can see it a bit.
I don't like that you have to kind of smudge the disc to get it out of the holder, though. That's not great design.
Or they've had the digital version on sale lately for only like $80. You get 30 movies on most of the streaming services. It's a really good set for all those. It's got a lot of those Flashpoint era stuff, as well as the Diniverse stuff's in there. It's a cool set, and everybody, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Batman. They've all got their own movies, even some Shazam stuff in there.
That's pretty cool. I've never really
Does
seen
anybody else.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that bought or pays for the DC streaming service, the DC Universe? Because I feel like that was essential for me. I had to have that. Did everybody else buy it?
No.
I have it. It's horrible.
No.
Going to do, and considering all of the different streaming services on there, I figured that was going to be way too specific in order to really have a good return on investment for it.
Well, I like the original programming. Like Titans, I think, was an amazing show. I really enjoyed that one. And, having Doom Patrol on there, that one was good. And then, they did Swamp Thing. And so, I think it's cool to have it in one place. The problem is they don't have everything in one place. They don't have every CW show. They don't have every movie. And you were looking at that box set, a lot of those are on there, but not all of them. which again, it like kind of creates a problem. So I think it looks like it's kind of fizzling out anyway. They're moving a lot of that stuff to HBO Max.
Yep.
Some of it's like coming back to CW because they have to recycle because they don't have new content because of that whole, pandemic thing all the kids are talking about. So like Swamp Thing is coming to I think CW, and they're going to just like replay it because it was exclusive to the DC universe. But I think the content was cool. The concept was cool. I agree with you, Ron. There's like not quite enough, but there's a lot of cool stuff that's on there, but they're starting to fade it out, and it just feels like it's probably at its end. But Titans, I thought was worth the price of admission for me.
Huh. Well, let's see if they let me renew my yearly subscription in December. Now that'll probably tell us what's going to happen, because most people think it's going to move all of the original content and the movie catalogs are going to move completely to HBO Max. And this is going to end up becoming more like Marvel's Unlimited, which is just a comic service. And for a comic service, this is great. But I will say for like any TV-related device, it has the absolute worst interface. That's why I've kind of given up on it. You can't find things searching on an Apple TV here. It just doesn't really have any kind of good browsing ability whatsoever, which is my biggest problem with it. Like, oh, I want to watch one of those movies. There's no way to just scroll through the movies.
And considering also the shakeups that happened at DC, what was it, a couple weeks ago, that that really starts to feel like they're going to be moving more either moving into HBO Max, or possibly there have been rumors always going around that WB was going to sell off DC Comics, especially. So
that rumor's still around that they're going to license everything out, and Disney's going to be chomping at the bit to just merge.
I'd be all down for that. I'd be 100%.
Two universes, I don't know.
Yo, that'd be amazing.
Oh my God.
Right? I've always assumed that they would do it just because they already have Marvel, but do it. Like, if they were to do that, it would be like, yes, please, make that happen. Oh my gosh. Own it all. Buy Nintendo. Buy Hasbro. Buy everything.
Hasbro would be even bigger.
Hey, Jelly, real quick, I think your mic's muted.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
How embarrassing. The epic rap battles of history, and they did Stan Lee versus Jim Henson, and then at the very end of everyone look this up, it's amazing. And then at the very end, Walt Disney comes in and is basically like, "I own both of you. Get back to work. Stop rapping, you idiots." And like one of the lines is like, "I rule the planet with 3 little circles," and I was like,
gosh.
And that's what that reminded me of.
That's too
Everyone, YouTube that if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to. What?
Though should have been Bob Iger saying that.
Well, now, yeah. At the time, it was as if they made this while Walt Disney was alive.
Oh my gosh. Oh. Guys, we got some trailers to talk about. Let's see here. First one we're gonna talk about is Wonder Woman 1984.
Give it to me.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't see the first one.
What?
Didn't really care.
Look at
first trailer or the first Wonder Woman movie?
First Wonder Woman movie.
Because this is the second trailer for this movie.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so glad we're having little flashbacks back to the island of beautifulness.
You like that?
Well, I love that island.
Okay.
It was just a bunch of like kick butt ladies just kicking butt.
Hey.
And like,
as somebody who's gone through so many seasons of Arrow, please don't say flashback to the island.
No.
Sorry. Ooh, Kristen Wiig. She's been away for a hot minute.
So we were joking earlier that this is essentially just this Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer. Because Kristen Wiig is going to turn into Cheetah the exact same way that Jamie Foxx turned into Electro in that movie. It just looks, it looks too cartoony and too out of place for the theme of the movie.
Like Selena Kyle becoming Catwoman in Batman Returns?
No, that for some reason just worked.
That was different.
that at least like made sense. I don't know why.
Here's the thing, though, that I think about this movie. I have a lot of opinions about this movie, but the thing with Kristen Wiig is I think that, they're kind of setting her up with what she's wearing and all that she's going to be Cheetah. I think they should have held off to show what Cheetah was going to look like fully evolved. I feel like they played their hand a little too early in this one with that. It should have been more of a reveal.
Well, I'm guessing part of that big reveal is, and this is a guess, but it might be a bit of a spoiler of a guess, is she's not the main villain. I think it's Maxwell Lord.
Oh, yeah, okay. That could be it.
Because
you just saw Maxwell Lord talking with Cheetah on the plane.
Right, and he's the one who says, what if everybody gets their wish? That's how Steve is back. That's how she becomes, Cheetah. So I think that's part of it.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of the things don't make sense. Like the gold suit doesn't make sense to me, and maybe it will in the when we get to see the movie. But the other thing is, and we talked. When we were talking about this, Eric, and we were talking about how it looked like the Spider-Man 2 trailer. What bothered me about it was in the beginning of this when she is Spider-Man swinging on lightning. That I'm like, what? That is not something that Wonder Woman does. There are some things that they show in the first trailer for this too, with her stopping the bullet and then hitting it back, and I was like, okay, that's a cool thing that I've never really seen her do. Or the thing where she spins. Usually it's just she stops them, but this is her throwing it and then hitting it back. And then there was the thing with her spinning the lasso to stop the bullets. That's stuff that we really haven't seen from Wonder Woman before and go, wow, she has a lot of capabilities. But to have her swinging from lightning, that just seemed a little bit too weird, and maybe it'll make sense in the movie, but it seemed a little bit too over the top. I think that the first Wonder Woman movie to me was one of my favorites in that Zack Snyder series. Ron mentioned it earlier when she comes in, it changed the tone of Batman versus Superman that introduced her. We get to see her in that first movie, and I think that was a great movie. I really enjoyed that one. So this one, looks to be a little bit different. I think it's interesting them putting in the time frame of 1984. The very first trailer for this, though, makes it feel like Stranger Things. It has that whole Stranger Things vibe to it because of the music and the imagery in it. So this one is very different because, again, it focuses more on Cheetah. But to y'all's point, maybe she's not the villain, but she's always been the villain for Wonder Woman in the comics.
But it's not the first time that we've seen two different villains kind of teaming up for a movie, and you see that especially with DC. Think of the you've had the Penguin and Catwoman together in Batman Returns, Two-Face and the Riddler in Batman Forever. Batman and Robin had the Freeze and Poison Ivy and Bane.
Honestly, we don't even need to go that far back, though. If you think of just, we were just talking about Batman versus Superman. Lex Luthor's in that movie, but he's really nothing. And then Doomsday would be
It's usually the second movie where they start to add them on, right? It's usually this one's got to be bigger than the last one. We have to add some more in there. And even the movie we're talking about with Jamie Foxx being the villain in that, Amazing Spider-Man 2, then there was also Green Goblin is okay, we're introducing him in this new series. So there are a lot of these where the first one it's just 1v1, and then it's we got to up our game. We got to add some more. We were talking about Batman Returns earlier, and Catwoman, but you also had Penguin. It does get bigger as that goes on. So I definitely think that's a thing. But the Cheetah reveal to me was one of those I wish I hadn't seen that yet, because they were really doing a good job of setting it up that even before the transformation, she was still going to be a formidable villain for Diana.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Patty Jenkins, right?
Yeah.
Again. So I have a lot of faith in that.
Julie, you saw the first one.
I did, yes.
You said you liked it because you were telling me about it.
I very much liked it, yes.
What do you think of this?
I'm excited. I think it looks really good. I'm glass.
You're glass.
I'm glass. I'm glad Chris Pine. I always gotta just think for a quick second. Too many Chris's. They all look the same. Is back. I for one really love just not even from like a character standpoint, just from an acting standpoint, I really like Kristen Wiig.
Okay.
I think she, you know, she started very obviously on SNL and very like a comedic actress, but I've seen her in other things, and I think she's a very, very good actress.
Yeah.
So the fact that she's been given a not just like a side role in a movie, like she's been in more serious films, and just kind of like a not really having a big character, so to have like a big character in a more serious film that's not based in comedy, I'm very excited to see.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm super excited.
It's funny
Like-
that you say that about her, though,
Yeah.
because if anything is going to get me to watch this movie, would be Kristen Wiig, because I'm interested to see what she is capable of.
She was in The Martian, I think, was the one she was in. I don't know. There was like a year in which like 5 different space movies came out, but I think it was The Martian she was in. Was that the one with like Matt? I don't remember. I'm just spouting out names. Anyway.
The Martian was Matt Damon, but I can't remember if she was in it or
Yeah,
not.
she had a very small part. But no, I'm excited. I really loved the first one. Specifically because I liked the time era it was in.
Okay.
But I think this will, like, I like, again, that it's in a time era. It's not in the modern day.
Yeah.
So I like that they're keeping with some sort of period piece for Wonder Woman. So yeah, I'm excited.
Which I think is interesting, because then, like, it's very hard for them to bring in any of the other heroes into this movie.
Yeah.
Which I think, like, works.
Yeah.
You know, kind of thing.
Which is a problem that Marvel movies have, is like you're watching, particularly like Civil War was the worst of them. You're watching, then you're like, okay, why hasn't he called Tony? Why hasn't he called Bruce? Like, he's taking this all on his own, but, you know, putting it in a different time period solves that issue.
Yeah. That's so true.
Also, I assume because of the time era, Lucy Davis is in it, which is upsetting. You wouldn't know this because you didn't watch the first one.
I didn't know, but
she
I
was
know
the
what you're
best
talking
part
about.
of it.
I know what you're talking about, though. Did any of you guys
just
watch...
so you know, Kristen Wiig was in The Martian, but more importantly, was also the voice of Rough Nut in How to Train Your Dragon. So I just needed to share that. Anyways,
I'm just glad I remembered it was The Martian. It was like Gravity, Interstellar. I don't remember.
That year did have a lot of them. Did you guys see the first theatrical cut of Justice League by chance?
Yep.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of that? I did not. Again, after Batman v Superman, I stopped. I stopped in my tracks, and I was like, if this is what's gonna be happening going forward, I'm done. I got my Batman movie somewhat, and I'm good.
All these dramatics.
It was fine, in my opinion. I think I was excited when Whedon took over from Snyder, because Snyder does, as I said, I think he's great at these cinematic moments, these kind of set pieces. He's not great at characterization. He's not great at storytelling, and I think Whedon tends to be. But from what I'm seeing of the Snyder Cut thing, I'm more excited for this than I am for Whedon's Justice League, mostly because I think the studio, I mean, the set, what happened on set aside, let's leave that for a different discussion, but the studio interfered. It was supposed to be part one of a 2-part thing with Apocalypse and Darkseid showing up, and I'm a huge Darkseid fan. I've got the first issue of Darkseid's appearance right behind me here that I tracked down. That he's such a great villain, and just I want to see that brawl between him and Superman at some point. I don't know if we're going to get it here, but I'm definitely more excited for this than I am for what I was expecting out of a Snyder movie, just because now I think we're going to get those set pieces, because Whedon's movie was okay, and it definitely was the somebody came in and took this over kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
It's the good dinosaur of the DC movies is what it is, right? It's, somebody else came in and took it over. And just let me throw my part in, is I liked it. But I think my expectations were low. Wolf, like you said, I mean, Batman versus Superman, it was not a great movie, and Man of Steel left me very disappointed. Wonder Woman, though, was, I think, a great movie, and I actually enjoyed Aquaman. So this one was okay. I guess to Ron's point, like, I enjoyed it, but I mean, when I watched that trailer for the Snyder Cut, I'm like, I am in I mean, if I hadn't already signed up for HBO Max, I would have signed up immediately for this. I can't wait for 2021 to see this. And it was like everything in the trailer was something you didn't see in the Justice League movie. And so it's like that means that there is a ton of content that we didn't get a chance to see yet that's going to be out there. And if it's 4 hours, then that's going to be fantastic. I almost wish they would run it as one. I think they're running it as 4 separate, installments. But I almost wish they would just go Lord of the Rings Super Edition. Just run the 4 hours. Give me a bucket of popcorn. I'm going to watch it. I'm very excited for it.
So Zack Snyder said that yes, it's going to be 4 1-hour sections, and then he is in talks right now to try to get just all 4 of them nonstop. Just to be a whole thing, so people can watch just that as well.
Yeah, it's gonna. I mean, I'm really excited about this. There were little things in there, like you meet Iris, and it's like, okay, there's actually a storyline for Barry, and we get to find out about him and what he did. So and there's Ron's boy.
And the music just comes in, and I can understand why they didn't want to use Darkseid at the time, because he is Thanos in a way.
And that
and
the
you don't want to do
front
the
of the
same
old
thing.
school, the front of the old school Hall of Justice. That's awesome.
But one of the things I'm excited for is this isn't just cutting room floor footage. They actually went out there redoing effect shots. They had to I think they had to film some more at least B-roll. I don't know how much they got the major actors back for, but there was no real Snyder Cut that people thought there was, because this had to actually be assembled.
Well,
like the Avengers.
Makes sense. He got a butt ton of money for to come back and do his story. There's Iris.
There she is.
And this does make me question a little bit. I mean, obviously there's new leadership at Warner Brothers now, but this does make me wonder if the story of the sad circumstances of his leaving this film in the first place. A lot of people thought that it was made up and he was fired. And they just let him bow out nicely. I mean, not nicely, but with the excuse of his daughter's suicide. So step out of this. But now I'm beginning to wonder, what was the true story about how that happened?
Yeah.
Have you ever looked up random Ben Affleck's back tattoo?
No.
Makes you lose respect for him just a little bit.
Oh my gosh. Don't say that. I'm wearing a Ben Affleck Batman.
I watched an interview with J-Lo, and they were like, "What do you think of his back tattoo?" And she's like, "It's horrible." And I've told him that. I'm like, "Good for you."
Is it, forgive the term, but tramp stamp?
No, it's like an entire back piece, but it's just bad. It's all colorful. I think it's like a phoenix. It was a mistake.
Oh,
I
it's
probably
a
know
phoenix.
some people from Dorchester who have the same kind of thing.
It's a phoenix because he's now back as Batman.
I think it's a
he thought he wasn't
phoenix
gonna
or
be
a dragon, something like that.
He thought he wasn't gonna be Batman, and he was done, and he's like, "Oh, okay." And then he just raised up.
After Daredevil, he was like, "I will never be anything again."
Gosh, I forgot he was Daredevil.
I remember that.
He
That's
was
when
hoping
that
you
song
would.
came
Oh
out
my
by
gosh.
Evanescence. It was amazing. There it is.
Oh, wow.
How bad? That's bad.
Go big or go home, right?
Honestly.
I mean, come on.
He planned that and thought it was a good idea. Bless.
Can I give my thoughts on the Snyder Cut?
Yeah, Michael.
I'm not excited for it at all.
Okay.
Just because, look what I don't trust Snyder too well. He is good only if you have read Miller's comics from the 90s and, The Dark Knight Returns, that kind of grittiness to it. So, there were some high points in Justice League, which you can tell were characteristically Whedon in how the characters were interacting with each other. But I just feel it's just going to be another Batman v Superman without Wonder Woman. Just that whole, how bad it seemed that, and how dark it was going to be, and how off the tone of, as I said before, I'm more the biggest fan of the animated universe, the Diniverse, and such. And the Snyder such is really just to take away. I love the CW shows. They are serious, but they do have that brightness with it. this grittiness version of it all, I don't see. I just have the strange premonition that it's just going to be more Man of Steel and Batman, Superman, Dawn of Justice.
But I think the set pieces of those were decent, and I think this looks like everything that's going to be added is nothing but big action set pieces. And I do trust Snyder for those. He's got a great visual style. He's got a great concept for fight choreography, the people he uses for that. He just isn't great at those little character moments, and I think maybe they'll pull in some stuff that was already done and to build those characters. But, I mean, if they're just adding... supposedly the story was supposed to be when Steppenwolf, was beaten at the end. You just the boom tube opens and you either see Darkseid's fist, Darkseid's face, or just hear his voice saying, "Well, now I'm coming." And the second movie was just supposed to be that. And I'm kind of hoping that's what we're getting as the addition is, okay, we've beaten Steppenwolf and now it's just war.
Okay.
The beginning of your argument just Michael Bay of DC Comics, where it's only going to be about the action scenes. The character interactions are just going to be horrible. The first Transformers movie was good. After that, it just kind of went downhill.
Yeah.
I actually never liked any of the Transformers, but I think Bay's done some decent work with, I like the Bad Boys movies. I like The Rock, stuff like that are more just action set piece after action set piece without having to rely on characters we already know. That he just had his own character, so we didn't have to compare them to anything.
Yeah.
But with any superhero, action for the sake of action shouldn't be the idea of a superhero. I mean, you can see that for people like probably Lobo, where he just wants to go all action. Actually, it would be a bit more of a will such. But you want to have those kind of moments to breathe characters, and you want to try when they, nobody, superheroes usually don't want to fight unless they have to.
Yeah.
But always the fighting and such, always the action scenes, it just doesn't make for as good of a movie. There's not as much of a storyline if there's going to be more action. It's just how we've seen a lot of it.
But that's when you have a team movie is different, because a team movie is you already have, why do you need all 7 of these? Because it's a big action piece. One of them can't take it on its own. No matter how powerful Superman is, he can't defeat the armies.
Yeah.
So that's why I think this works for that. I don't think he worked like Man of Steel, Dawn of Justice were more about characters, because it wasn't trying to. He could. I mean, I'm not trying to defend him. I don't think he's great at this, but when you have so many characters spread out, you don't have to go so deep into them.
But here's the thing, though. I think that what I see in that trailer, which is the longest, I think, of all of them that we got from DC Fandom, but what I see in that trailer is there is more of character development. Like, again, the fact that we see Barry and Iris together at least shows that there's hey, here's some story development about Barry, and not just he shows up, he has a couple minutes with Barry, we get to see the hidden Rick and Morty TV in the background, and then he's out, and then he's just part of the team. That was I want to see more of that kind of stuff, and I feel like that's what we're hopefully getting in this one. And we don't know the behind the scenes of was Zack Snyder held back on some of this stuff, and now he's in a point where he gets to be as creative as he wants to with these 4 hours. Mm-hmm. Maybe this is going to be his salvation at the end of the day. But I do think that just from what I saw from the trailer, it looks to me to be better than the Justice League we got. And so I'm excited for it for that reason. Plus the fact that, it's going to be something that I can watch on TV, and it's not something that I have to go to the theater and see. But, because again, if it was just another theater movie, I'm not sure I would spend the money again with the possibility of being disappointed. Because, Batman vs. Superman, Man of Steel, he did it a bunch.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of real big disappointments. So I think there's a little bit of he's trying to prove himself, a little bit of redemption story here. But in between all those scenes in the trailer, there is a lot of, shoot 'em up, blow 'em up stuff. But I think that there looks like there's more story, more character in it. But on another note, I don't know if you guys watch Doom Patrol at all, but I just seeing the Doom Patrol cyborg makes me love this cyborg even more, because the Doom Patrol cyborg looks like a guy in a Halloween mask. That's it. Sorry.
Guys, we're gonna move on to our last two topics. And actually, Rob, you were basically saying you don't know if you want to pay again for something that you've already seen and gotten disappointed with. So,
yep,
I was disappointed with the Suicide Squad. No lie.
Wasn't.
Okay.
No lie.
Yeah.
But the Suicide Squad, I don't know. It kind of seems a little cooler. What do you guys think?
James Gunn, man. James Gunn is going to save this for us.
Yeah.
We're all right there.
I feel like.
And it's so funny how, like, the people that are in this movie that are from the last movie were not my problems with the movie.
No.
Yeah.
I think that, well, first of all, I'm very excited about this. I like that as a whole. Everyone's like, forget about it, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But I think when you watch Suicide Squad, and I think I mentioned it on air before, it's not a film. It's just like a bunch of almost like 90s TV intros for different characters for the first like hour. It's like, oh, here's Harley Quinn. This is her theme song. Here's a Deadshot. This is her theme song.
Yeah.
This is what she does. And like then the rest of the movie made zero sense and was super dark. Like not like dark tonally.
Not dark tone, but
like I'm like, what's happening? What's going on? I can't see.
Yeah.
Can I tell you, I have two character like casting issues with this movie that throw me off though. One is this one. Pete Davidson. Like, I think I feel like that's weird.
I don't have a problem with him because I think he's just gonna die right off the bat.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second one is John Cena. Like, I mean, I get that he's a big guy, and you know, The Rock did it, so why can't John Cena do it? But I feel like it looks a little cheesy with John Cena in there. But I mean, some of the cast I think looks pretty tight, and you know, hopefully James Gunn, like I said, can come in and save it. Idris Elba, just put him in anything, man. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's good. He's great.
You know, whenever
this is a weird mix of A-list actors and D-list characters, even more than like this is even like there's characters in here I had to look up, and I have. You know, thousands of DC comics sitting in my basement right now. Like, I had to look up TDK, like, before this. The Detachable Kid.
Yeah.
Like, and you know there's going to be half of these people are dead in the first half of the movie.
Yeah,
There's just
honestly.
too many to go on. But, like, you like, it's going to focus on Elba, and I think because, you know, he loves filling in. He's probably, you know, he'll be around, and Margot Robbie, and... just because it's his brother, I'm expecting Weasel to make it the way through.
Actually, the funny thing is, because it's his brother, I think he'll kill him off in this movie.
Not at the end. I mean, not at the middle. I think he's an end death.
Okay.
As a Gilmore Girls fan, whenever I see Sean Gunn in anything, I'm like, that's weird. What are you doing there? And it's only ever in James. Like, this guy only did Gilmore Girls and then James Gunn things.
His brother's movies,
Nothing else. And so it's very odd because those are two very different properties.
Definitely.
That's all.
What I'm curious about with this one is Capaldi's thinker, because we just saw the Clifford DeVoe in the Flash TV series. I want to see if he's going to be playing DeVoe again, or if they're going to change him to another version of the thinker. It kind of looked that way from the way he had the spikes on the head versus DeVoe, who had the big helmet. But I think like Clifford DeVoe in The Flash was one of the better villains on here, on DC, the DC television universe.
Yeah.
So I just want to see, you know, if Capaldi will do as good of a job. I forget what the name of that actor was. I think it was from South Africa, but who played DeVoe in the Flash season, Flash series.
But I could actually see Gunn saying, "Just do the Doctor, but evil," like for that kind of Just play as an evil version of your doctor, because that would be the Thinker.
Honestly.
Also, Harley's costume in this is very, very Arkham Knight costumey.
I like the black and I like the black and red.
Yeah.
I was like, I like that. Weird. Go back to that. Like, she has a dress in this. She has a dress in this movie as well, and it's just a red dress, black combat boots, and then I think pigtails. But now I think her pigtails are shorter because she cut them during the Harley Quinn movie.
Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey. But I'm like, yes, finally, go back to that look.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I got a plan, guys. Let's make the black blue. Why? Why?
I hate it. I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan of like old Harley. I love animated Harley, and then I like when I don't mind that they modernize her, but it's when it just doesn't make any sense to me that I'm very much just like, I don't know.
Change tradition.
And she was the highlight of the first movie, and I don't think the first movie was the worst thing in the world. I think if you cut out that entire Joker subplot, it would be a much better movie.
And just up that brightness.
and just make it campier. And this looks like this is leaning into that camp so hard, it's going to make Shazam look like a Bergman film.
Yeah. This one, they said it's going to be a 1970s war film.
Okay.
So, I'm all for it. Honestly, I'm on board.
So MASH?
That's what I'm
thinking. Apocalypse Now is probably what we're thinking.
And I'm like, yo, I'm good with this.
The Deer Hunter.
Yeah, just and the fact that it's James Gunn. Like like Guardians of the Galaxy isn't my favorite, Marvel movie, but Guardians of the Galaxy is up there, and it's because of his vision.
Yeah.
And honestly speaking, when he did Guardians of the Galaxy, it was very much just like, oh, he didn't get Suicide Squad, so he's doing Guardians of the Galaxy.
But he gets it. Like, he gets that tone very well.
Yeah.
Like, he knows where to bring it.
Yep.
Which I enjoy.
I'm excited.
Like, I've always said there's two types of camp, and he does it very well.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's very specific. Most is like, give me characters nobody cares what I do with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the other thing that it's just like, go him, man. Like, so excited for it.
Look, if he can do something with Polka Dot Man, I'm curious.
Yep. Gosh. Guys, let's talk about the Batman.
Yes.
I'm extremely excited for this. It's year 2 Batman. And Ben, I'm gonna stop you a couple times in this trailer so we can talk about stuff.
That's fine.
It's just so cool. Like I'm really excited to see this.
See, my first thought when I saw this trailer wasn't Riddler, was Court of Owls.
Yes.
And also the Nirvana music is just like, what?
Yeah.
This seems to have a different tone and filmmaking quality than any other, I think, even just superhero film in general that I've ever seen.
Gotcha.
And interesting.
Any of this mean anything? Can you go back to the card?
That one? Or the one that's opened?
No, when it's opened.
Do you have what it's decoded to?
Yes, I know what it I know what it is.
Having a clue.
Which is gonna be such a cool thing in this movie to like watch and be like, oh my gosh, okay, wait, we gotta decode this.
So on the left, it says, what does a liar do when he's dead? So it was actually a cryptographer who had a whole 9-10 tweets who was able to translate each of those, each of the characters. The answer is he still lies.
Oh yes.
He lies still. Rather.
Yes.
And I love, going with this, I love the idea that we have never seen. There was a little bit of it in The Dark Knight, but Detective Batman is such a key part of his persona that the movies don't touch on. That, he is the world, obviously, it's like he's
the world's greatest detective.
He's the world's greatest detective. He's one of the world's greatest fighters. It's all of that in one. And seeing the detective is something we really, really need.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. That's definitely what the vibe you get from this is. It's very detective, and more so than we've seen in any of these others. So it's a mystery movie and an action movie.
Yeah.
Cool.
You also look at Pattinson, and he's got the vibe of Mammoose from Gotham as Bruce Wayne.
Huh.
As opposed to a bit more of, you think of Keaton, and you think of...
Hey guys, our stream's dead.
Oh.
Your stream has been temporarily blocked because we detected copyrighted audio and video. It looks like it is no longer being blocked. We're back. Welcome back.
Hey!
Sorry about that, folks. Apparently we can't play that trailer, so we're not going to start it again.
Oh, can we dock the audio, or
My
we
bad.
can't do that because that's probably what's doing it? Is the Nirvana song?
It's probably the. I'll duck the audio back and we'll see if we go again. If we do, then I'm just going to kill the whole thing. But I'm gonna mute that and put that back up.
Not this again.
So apologies for the inconvenience there.
No, I appreciate you.
Rewind a bit because we skipped a little bit forward here.
So Colin, is it Farrell's as Penguin there? We just saw.
No, not yet.
It showed him for a second.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Yeah, which
I'm
drives...
definitely like him right as Gordon.
Which honestly just drives me nuts. Because at first when he was casted as Penguin, I was kind of like, again, like I want a heavy set Penguin.
Yeah.
We got the skinny Penguin in Gotham, and the whole time I was watching Gotham, I was like, is he gonna beef up a little bit? I don't know. And then to see Colin Farrell here, I was just like...
I still can't see any bit of Colin Farrell in there.
Say that again?
We went down again.
Yeah, forget the trailer.
That's weird, but...
I'll let you know when we're back, but we're still out.
No problem.
It's the Muppets at Walt Disney World all over again.
It really is.
Why is it?
This is a lot of weight.
YouTube hates us.
Apparently, goodness gracious.
How are they the people have been doing these talk over these so much? It's usually the audio that flags you.
Yeah.
Well, I think we might be back in a moment at least. Yep, we're back. Okay. We are not allowed to watch that trailer. I don't know why, but we're not allowed to. So we're going to just talk about it anyways.
Yeah, we can talk about it. I just grabbed a picture of Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
We were talking a little bit earlier about the whole idea that they add the villains into the movie once you're, into the second and the third movie and there's more villains. But this one seems to be laying a lot of groundwork with the Riddler and the Penguin and Carmine Falcone and all of these characters in the first one, which is hopefully means that they're I hope they don't do too much of them in this movie and it becomes sort of, a trilogy or whatever, wherever they're going with this. But it is a lot of right off the bat, they're going to have to sort of semi-origin all of these characters in this first movie.
So
I think that they can do it at their pace, though, where they can introduce the Falcone and the Falcone mob as kind of lower levels in the beginning, and just have them kind of little popping up along the way. Maybe in one, they'll have a bit of a bigger role.
I think Penguin might be working for him. In this,
I mean, that would make sense because Penguin, at his best, when he's written at his best, is just a mob boss.
Yeah,
not the over-the-top type. That's what he works best as. And I'm getting two different storyline vibes from this trailer that I don't think you could do in one movie, and I think it's setting up. One is the Long Halloween.
Well, this one's very based on it, and the director, I forget the director's name right off the bat. But he did say that the source material for this will be that.
And the other one with a Riddler storyline at the origin is Batman Year Zero or Zero Year.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing those two combined to create this, and those are both good storylines. And you see the whole thing with the Riddler forcing people into doing his vision with the Red Hood, and that could be the Joker version we're getting out of it, getting in this universe, and all that. So it's really building on a lot, and I think they do have an actual plan going forward here. Like, even Nolan said he had some concept of what we wanted to do, but that Joker card was just a little nod at the end. It wasn't supposed to set up the Dark Knight until everybody jumped on it. So if they have that plan, that's what they need with a Batman story to span multiple movies. Because, I mean, part of, I think, the Dark Knight Rises failure was, I think he was planning on using Joker in some aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was like, oh, I killed the wrong villain. Oops. But I still don't think he had that 3-story arc in place when he started, and I think this does have at least some longer arc in place. And that's why, I mean, Pattinson's how old? Like, what, 32?
Yeah.
And, I mean, a lot of people jump on him because of how bad the acting in the Twilight movies was. But, like, that's not him. Like, even, I hate to defend her again, but, like, Stewart's done some good stuff. Her portrayal of, I think it's The Runaways, when she's playing Joan Jett. She was fantastic as Joan Jett. I mean, obviously that really does the disaffected girl who really doesn't show any emotion other than when she's angry kind of fits Joan Jett in that movie a little bit better. But it was good for her, and I think dismissing Pattinson from the very limited role we had in Potter and the Twilight movies is not something I really want to dismiss him on, because I don't think that was his fault. I think that was the material's fault.
Correct, yeah.
You know, my thing about him is he doesn't look like the Bruce Wayne that we know, but we're looking at a lot of people that these are not the way that we know these characters. Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, I would never have picked that, but yes, that is awesome. Like, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
You know, Andy Serkis as Alfred, that's cool. I mean, like, I'm really excited about that too. So I think we're seeing a lot of these characters in ways in this movie. They're almost reinventing Batman in the movies, like a reboot. And I'm glad they're doing that so quickly, because I feel like there were more things planned for Ben Affleck that aren't happening. And so to have like a Batman movie already on board and getting ready, kind of like we did with the Spider-Man from Andrew Garfield to Tom Holland. But so, like, I think my original thought was he doesn't really look like Bruce Wayne. At least the Bruce Wayne that we know, the billionaire playboy, very clean cut, very good in an office setting kind of a thing.
In his
but I think that's okay. I think that's okay in this one, because again, we are seeing these characters in a whole new way, and I'm hoping that this could be like rebooting the entire DCEU. Like, maybe this starts here and then they like go off again. They're finishing up some stuff with the Suicide Squad and with the Justice League, the recut and all that kind of stuff. But maybe this is like, if it's as good as it seems like it could be, that it's really on its way to be something else. I love the fact that we don't get to see the trailer, but the way he goes and beats the crap out of that guy in the trailer. Yeah. Like, and it's just like he starts in a little bit and it's like just going to town. Yeah. Like that's that vengeance, and I love that idea, and the whole idea where he says, "Who are you?" and I'm like, "Oh, please don't say I'm Batman. Please don't say I'm Batman." And he goes, "I'm Vengeance," and I'm like, okay, I'm in. I mean, this is really cool. So I'm excited about this one. And that was, again, he's like not the typical Bruce Wayne, but all of these characters are almost kind of refreshed and taken in a whole new direction. I'm excited about it.
So that's the first trailer. In the next trailer, I'd like to see him go, "I am the Knight." Then you have, "I am Vengeance."
I hope he says, "I am the Knight" in the second movie. And then in the third movie is when he says, "I'm Batman."
We'll
just stretch it out. Yeah. We'll stretch it out. Ben has some photos.
Worried.
Say it again.
What I'm very worried about is this movie is only supposedly 25% in the can. Like, they really didn't get a lot done before they had to shut down for the pandemic. So I really hope they're not going to focus group this trailer to death and change this movie because of what people say.
Oh, yeah.
Which I could really see Warner doing, unfortunately. But I think if people just generally liked it, they might back off. But like the people jumping on the eyeshadow thing at the end, when every other Batman has had the eyeshadow on, he has it on in the comics. It's part of the persona. It's it's like a defensive lineman having it, not like it's a goth thing.
Exactly.
Isn't it interesting that they did? I'm sorry, Michael. Go ahead.
I mean, like, even Keaton had the eyeliner thing in Batman Returns, and then he takes off the mask, and then he doesn't have the eyeliner.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say, though, isn't it interesting how quickly they went, like, DC Fandom, this whole thing, I didn't know that it was happening, and I guess it's because of the whole they didn't get to panel at Comic-Con or whatever, but isn't it interesting that they felt like they needed to do this, and all these projects seem so not ready to introduce? I mean, we look at the Suicide Squad, it's not a real trailer because they don't have that, so it's just like these character introductions or behind the scenes. The Batman one, says after the trailer, like, this is still in production. The Wonder Woman was ready to go, but the pandemic, slowed it down. So, like, a second trailer for that makes sense, and that movie's ready to go. The video games, okay, great, they're ready to go, but these other things, like where we only kind of have like the animatics for the Black Adam or other things, it just seemed like they weren't ready to do this.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And it's funny because I didn't even put Black Adam on here because I was like, was it a trailer? Was it not a trailer? I don't know. Like, it was whatever. It was The Rock talking and telling the story of Black Adam, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And even with the pandemic going on, that a lot of these things would have probably been revealed at Comic-Con a month before.
Correct.
So this is adding an extra month to what happened. And I mean, of course, everything changed during the pandemic. So this may have been the things that we would have seen in July.
Yeah.
So we can probably...
They would have had 5 months of production that they didn't get to have, or 4 months of production they didn't get to have to get some more stuff ready because of the pandemic. So, they had to shut it down, and we don't know what that means for anything. Like I was talking about, the CW is releasing Swamp Thing because they're like, oh my gosh, we have no content. Oh, there's something on DC Universe no one else has seen. We'll put that out there.
Yep.
So, I mean, they would have had, I get what you're saying, Michael, but I think they would have had 4 more months of like on-scene production to shoot some more stuff and put together an actual trailer for some of that stuff. So it just seems like they weren't ready to do this, but they wanted it to be a big deal and do this whole presentation. And we don't even know when half of this stuff is coming because, again, COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, just like you saw in the end of the trailer that we're not going to see, it's $0?
We do have some photos really quick of... we have of the Penguin, or what we expect to be the Penguin. That's
a horrible penguin.
I don't like
penguin
it.
I've ever seen.
Horrible penguin.
Sorry, I don't think I have what you're looking for.
The Penguin one, no.
It didn't show up right in Slack.
That's Selena Kyle. That's cool.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Oh no, I can't get the Penguin one to load. Sorry.
No, you good. You good. So we got Catwoman here, or Selena Kyle. I'm not totally sure if, mind you, this whole movie takes place 2 years into Bruce Wayne being Batman.
Yeah.
Is it also 2 years into these villains being these villains?
Yeah.
Is it, did she just start, breaking into places? Like, who knows?
Yeah.
It's funny because a lot of people were giving The Mask a lot of flack because it's just like a little mask, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can really just see like her whole thing, but you got to think about it. It's like she's not the Catwoman that we know.
Yeah, it's very like a makeshift. Like she probably is not Catwoman yet.
Correct.
Yeah,
she's
just like,
sorry, Rob, it's the leather yet.
Yeah. And same thing for like the Riddler. Like I love Riddler with his cane and his bowler hat and all this, but that's probably not what we're gonna get.
Yeah.
The guy in the beginning of that trailer is probably the Riddler.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But Ron, you brought up a good point of the Court of Owls. Like, I really, really, really hope that this whole thing of the secrets in Gotham and everything coming out and No More Lies and stuff like that have to do with the Court of Owls, because we haven't seen that yet on the big screen.
It's in the Arkham game, or not the Arkham, Gotham Knights coming out. That was the end part of the trailer. And I've met Scott Snyder a few times. I'd love to see more of his stuff on the screen. He's a Snyder. DC movies should be following. If you haven't read his Batman stuff, read his Batman stuff. He's a good guy. He has some great Disney connections. He was in the college program. He was a friend of Buzz.
Hey.
Yeah, and he was a custodian. And I know I gave him the piece of art, and when I met him again, he told me it was, the Haunted Arkham picture of the Haunted Mansion stretch portraits as Batman villains.
Yes.
I gave him a copy of that because I had that on a shirt he tried to buy off me at a con. So next time I gave him a copy of that, he had it. It's hanging in his kid's room.
That's so good. No, I love those paintings. But yeah, no, guys, any last thoughts on DC Fandom, on anything specific?
I have one real quick thing.
Yeah.
Black Adam.
Hey!
So we weren't going to talk about Black Adam, but I love the idea that the Justice Society might be coming to the big screen, and that's like a lot of what he was talking about. So, I mean, again, like I said, I don't know that Shazam got the movie I wanted him to have, but it feels like Black Adam may be that movie with the way that they're bringing in Justice Society, but it still seems weird that he's not fighting Shazam, he's fighting the Justice Society. But it'll be really cool to see those characters on the big screen.
That's awesome.
Just one thing about Fandom I wanted to point out, and some people brought this out, is do you think this is the end of Comic-Con as we know it? How successful these kinds of things have been for Microsoft, Sony, DC, and like D23 being its own thing. When they do D23, they pull a lot of the Marvel stuff out.
Yeah.
Are we going to see more of this kind of thing, do you think? Because this was better. The reception for this was better than the Comic-Con at home panels in general, from what I understand. Like, there was some nice Trek stuff, but everything else was like not even like the secondary halls. That was like the tertiary hall stuff was pulled onto the online stuff. So, I mean, I love cons. I hope they continue. I think they're great places to actually meet up and for cosplayers and for merchandise. But the big kind of pop culture stuff we've seen for the last decade or two, I think this could really start spelling the end of it.
Yeah. It's funny that you said that, though.
I think it's going to evolve in a different way, and I was talking a bit about where you're going to have a lot more things streamed, and normally at a bunch of other conventions, it's usually been like a couple of panels that have been live streaming, and they've done some replays later on in the day that has been hosted by the particular convention. With a lot more of the evolution of things streamed, I think we're going to see all streamed, but there's still going to be that kind of feeling of being there in the room where it happens.
Yeah.
The room where it happens.
No, and I agree. I also agree. Like, it's something that came to mind when Disney started doing D23, and then they stopped, like, some things stopped showing up in other conventions because it was like, oh, we have ours in a couple months, like, let's just wait off, and then we get all the press, we get all, everything, and the people that really want to know are going to be there, kind of thing. But yeah, no, it's interesting.
You're appealing to where the big crowds are going to be, where the people are going to be.
Yeah.
So there's no bigger convention than San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Because it pretty much takes over the Gaslamp Quarter of San Diego. So when you have a lot of people there and even more people just waiting online just to be there, just to be in that huge panel room, and I've seen it for myself, and that's where these big companies are going to want to really, really make a big show because it really builds up the hype of these projects. That you can see them there, you can have the live applause, the live feedback, and the live, the gasping of everyone like, oh!
But if you could control the press for a whole week, if you do your panels on something a week that Marvel's not doing it, I think that's better for them, and I think we are going to. I think cons are not going to go away in that sense. I mean, provided we could get 50,000 people in a building again.
Only 50.
But it's 50 a day. Like those numbers, when they say 130,000 is a weekend.
For New York.
One of the last things. Well, no. I mean, whatever. But one of the last things I did before this started was you and I were at PAX together.
Yes, we were.
Was the last thing.
And that was the smaller one.
Yeah. So I really hope those things continue.
There were a couple of big names that backed out because that was right at the end of February. So there was a little bit of concern starting to grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Japan was shut down, so you didn't get Sony or Oculus or anything like that there. But they did a good job with that, and I had a lot of fun there. But I really hope those continue, even if we don't get these A-list panels, which those B panels in person are a lot more fun. They don't stream as well, I'll say that, I think. Like, nobody wants to see the Hasbro panel online.
Exactly. There's some things that need to be physical,
Yeah, especially now that Hasbro owns Power Rangers. Yeah,
you need to physically go there.
I watched that.
Well, I'm talking about like the actual toy reveal panels kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I go to those.
Nah, I feel you, guys. Thank you so much for coming on today for Geekly Kingdom. I appreciate it so much. It was so good to be able to talk, a little bit more with other people that enjoy what we love talking about here, and that's all things geek. This week it just so happened to be a lot of DC, but yeah, if you guys aren't following us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Yeah, we have a Facebook. Come on, girl.
I whispered so they wouldn't hear.
We have
up
a
my
Facebook.
Spot. I forgot about it.
You guys can follow us at Geekly Kingdom right there. We're going to be doing some other stuff. There may be some news as well concerning the show. You guys will be able to figure all that out if you follow us on there. But again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Jilly.
Hello. That was a weird face you just gave me. Yes, you're welcome. And as always, just a heads up, I will be posting that picture of Victor Crumb for y'all.
There we go. Thank you, Ron, for joining me and us today.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Rob.
Well, hey, thanks for having me. Well, I mean, again, I really thought this was going to be a conversation about Deep in the Plus, but if it's not, that's fine. But if you want to check out Deep in the Plus, Jill and I did one on Hercules that's up right now. Shameless plug.
There we go. And Michael, thank you as well.
I'm still Batman.
He's still Batman.
Because it's in my name.
And of course, thank you, Ben, for being our man in the chair and helping us out for everything tech. Spencer, we missed you, but we'll see you next time, bud. You guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.